really significant upside in a business. So I'd like to now just bring Don into the conversation, because I'm really looking forward to what Don's got to share, and I'll hand it over to you at this point, Don.
Thanks, Glenn. So I just want to touch a bit on, I'm with First Class Accounts. It's a franchise group. So what we do at First Class Accounts is all these systems and processes that Glenn's been talking about. We design these systems and processes for small business owners. So we'll come in and we'll analyse what you need to make your business more operationally efficient. We'll help you implement the systems. We can also help you manage them in an ongoing basis. And we can also operate it like we're your own accounts department. So if we go to the next slide. So I'd just like to touch on technology a little bit here. Our industry is really going through a technology a boom, I guess, just like everyone is. Everyone's got smartphones these days, and a lot of people are always sitting there in their spare time searching for apps, searching for things to make their business work more efficiently. There's plenty of apps on your phone. There's time recording apps to work out where you are and how long you've been there. There's different operational ones that help you with efficiencies as well. So you'll actually walk into an office now, and a bit different to the old days, I guess, only 10 years ago, not really that old, but there's a lot of people that actually go to work and they don't actually have a desktop computer or a laptop. They're sitting in their offices on iPads or Surface Pros or things like that. It's all about sort of mobile technology. And I guess one of the things I do with business owners is it's all about being able to do business in real time. So wherever you are, you should be able to operate your business in the cloud. And on the next slide, it just shows that some people, the people that embrace technology, you don't have to be a forefront runner. Like if Apple release the latest whiz-bang thing, you don't have to be the first person to use it. You can actually just keep your ear to the ground and learn off people and implement the efficiencies once someone's gone through the heartache of trying these things. But for people that just embrace technology and use it to its best, they're about 8% more profitable. Now, this was a survey done by Intuit, and the time saved for a business owner, if they're embracing technology, is 9 weeks elapsed. So in the trades industry, I suppose, and the building industry, anything along those sort of lines, there's a lot of time going to and from an office if you have to go back to your office to help run your business. But if you can just do it in between jobs or different job sites, then you're saving yourself a bucket load of time there. I guess at this point, I suppose I'd like to give an example of a case study on the next slide. The guy by the name of Ryan he's an electrician. He doesn't look like an electrician, looks like a bit of a carpenter there, but so he's been a client for a while of mine. So he's using job management systems. He started using SimPro. That didn't quite work for him, so he's gone to Airflow, which is fine. And then we wanted to automate his office. So Xero is probably the main bookkeeping software we use within our business. It's fully operational, works on any device, can go anywhere. There are different players in the market, MYOB and QBO being QuickBooks Online being the other two big players. We find Xero very simple for a business owner to understand. And if you're going to have someone doing your numbers for you, if you want to run a quick report or look at something, you need to understand what's going on. You don't have to do it, but you have to understand what's going on. A good bookkeeper will always make sure you're informed, but also show you how to understand your systems. So we use Dropbox for document storage. I mean, there's Google Drive and plenty of other things that can help you there. And we use a product called Receipt Bank. I'm not sure if anyone out there uses Receipt Bank, but it's optical character recognition. So we don't actually do data entry anymore in our business. It's all about data management. So there's software out there that will interpret every piece of paper and code it for you in your bookkeeping software and help you match it up with all the bank transactions. So with the implementation of bank feeds. I suppose everyone probably might be aware of those now. It's quite common now that you automatically get all your bank transactions loaded into your software, and the system actually starts matching stuff for you. So it's more about managing the data and making sure it's allocated in the right spot. And probably specifically with the trades, it's about using job tracking and a bit of job management there, which I'll touch on again later. So when you implement these systems, and next slide, you can you end up with a paperless. I suppose it's never going to be a paperless world, but it's probably more important than the second word. It's a cloud environment. It's embracing technology and being able to operate from anywhere. It's just fantastic, especially if you've got a trades business and you might want to go for a week off, or you might be doing jobs different sides of Sydney or different parts of Australia, and just being able to see what's going on at all times is very beneficial. So on the next slide, I'd just like to maybe go through a bit of my world with everybody and what we kind of implement for people. So every business, the most important system in any business, the one that you've got to have set up first, and it's got to be operationally efficient and accurate, is your financial systems. So it doesn't really matter whether it's your partner, your employee, your mum, your friend, or whoever doing the work. What's important here is that every business needs a system like this, and being operationally efficient is so important, so that you spend less time counting the money and more time earning it. So I guess the benefits of an outsourced contract service like my own is that, well, I've got 12 employees in this business, and we're available 52 weeks a year, 5 days a week. When you're sort of relying on one person, if they want to take holidays, well, your whole financial system kind of stops. So there's a bit of a benefit there with having a professional service to help you out. So I mean, we're in the business of bookkeeping. We're in the business of helping businesses run efficiently. We're in the business of implementing systems to make your life easier. Do business when it happens. So if you get an invoice, that goes into the bookkeeping software straight away. If you've got to do an invoice, you do it straight away. You're not sort of banking stuff up and doing it at night time or on weekends in your own personal time. So the point here is that, I guess the real point is that all businesses need these systems, and you can outsource it to a professional service provider like mine to get it set up, get some systems in place, and then you can choose to either operate it yourself or get them to help you operate it. So it depends sort of where your business sits. So, so on to the next slide, a couple of slides down. Back on. So so with these, I'll just touch on a few of these points quickly if I could. So I see it as the financial systems a circle, and the sales and the job management software. I mean, in the trades industry, there's so many different ones. There's Tradeify, there's ServiceMate, there's so many different ones, but it's just a matter of picking one that makes most sense to you and can keep track of the jobs. And obviously call out type trades is completely different to businesses that do long, like construction jobs or something like that. So choosing the right software and having someone who's used these systems before to help you make those decisions is very wise. The second system in the business, which is required, is accounts receivable and managing your debt collection and things like that. So, I mean, debt collection in its own right is a whole system. And Xero, for example, helps you you can send out automated reminders to your clients. You can do all sorts of things like that. But it's about having that system in place and someone to help you create the invoice, but also follow them up. Because sometimes the hardest thing for a business owner to do is to call their clients and ask for money. So it's best having a system in place where it just happens in the background for you. So accounts payable and payroll, they're a couple of, again, big parts of the system. In small business, it's probably the one that's underestimated the most. So people either pay bills when they've got the money, or some people pay bills every time they get it, just because they don't want to have to think about paying it later, or they might forget to pay it. But creating a whole payroll and payable system where you pay the bills and pay the staff once a week. All your suppliers get used to it. Some are on monthly accounts, so they obviously only get paid once a month. But it's creating that system of banking up all the invoices. Then one day a week, You spend 15 or 20 minutes deciding what you're going to pay. The most brain zapping thing for, I guess, for a business owner is if you're always thinking about paying out money, you're not spending time thinking about how you're going to make more money. So sort of quarantining that to one part of the week will be a real smart business decision to keep the energy in the business. Payroll, the compliance side of payroll is getting worse. Single touch payroll is coming in, being up to speed with all the government regulations and all the changes in that. Having somebody who's actually educated in what we need to do to meet ATO requirements. It's ever changing. It changes every year. So an outsourced service, I guess, probably has a little bit of a leg up here because we have to know what's going on there. We can't just wait for someone to say, oh, you were doing that wrong. We've got to get it right day one. So general bookkeeping, I've spoken about the likes of Xero and QBO and MYOB. I mean, they've all got this bank feed now and matching stuff up automatically, and just the general bookkeeping part is the old data entry where you used to sit there with a pile of invoices and data enter them and all that sort of stuff. So as technology gets better and better and better, there's less emphasis on your internal financial systems of inputting data. It's more about managing the data and knowing where you're spending your money. I mean, Glenn's touched on a few things about job by job profitability, knowing your break-even point, knowing your business operational costs. The management reporting and the analysis and forecasting tab there is probably the most important part of the business. I like to say that we don't do bookkeeping because the ATO tells us we've got to lodge a BAS. The reason we do bookkeeping and the reason you should be doing bookkeeping is so you can analyse the different lines of business within your business and analyse which one's the most profitable. You can't make smart business decisions if you don't know where you make the most money. And I guess the workflow, cash flow, profit part that you were talking about before, Glenn, cash flow will kill you first. So you've got to make sure that your accounts receivable system is getting money in as quick as possible. You've got to make sure your accounts payable system is paying money as slow as possible, but within credit terms. And if you've got the cash flow in the business, then that removes the day-to-day pressure, which will then usually works into profit. And being able to record your costs and your income for every job you do to analyse, is it better off doing residential work or is it better off doing commercial or industrial work? I mean, analysing these things, and then when you create your sales funnel, you want sales going into the funnel that are going to be for your more profitable jobs. And that's so the whole purpose of this whole bookkeeping and accounts receivable, accounts payables, the whole thing is all about being able to produce these job by job profitability reports. And for the businesses that we have that have sort of longer jobs, maybe like a builder or an air conditioning firm that are creating industrial work, we spend a lot of time like making sure we've got the right reports to make the right decisions. And every week, every job that's running for some businesses, they get a where are we up to budgets versus actuals report. And that the budget versus actual is very important as well, because if you're you're doing your costings and your quotes and your estimates, and you're not estimating right, you need to make sure you're making adjustments there. Compliance is probably the last part of the circle, and it's the result of everything. So we do all of this to make smart business decisions. We do all of this to make sure we know what's going on within our business. But at the end, we can then report to the government with, I mean, there's so many different things. There's BAS, there's IAS, there's single touch payroll, there's workers' comp, there's payroll tax, there's long service leave. There's all these different things, and compliance is probably one of the most stressful things I find when I take over from business owners, is not knowing when it's due, forgetting when it's due, not knowing whether it's 100% accurate. So we take away the stress of compliance. I mean, we can't pay the bill, but we manage the time frames and the stress that comes along with giving the ATO the rest of our money, which we like to call ourselves tax collectors sometimes. But look, at the end of the day, systems and processes, you've got to systemize every business. I mean, trades or any business really. It's more about being efficient and And having these systems in place, and you can run them yourself. You can pay other people to even set them up if that's what you want to do. But just getting someone who can do it, and so you can freeze up your time to actually go out there and make more money. The cost that you pay someone to do this is just paid for 10 times over if you're getting more sales in, and getting the sales in that are more profitable.
Yes. Yeah. So Don, just as we sort of wind that up, I want to invite the attendees that we do have a Q&A here, and just while I ask Don a few questions myself, you're welcome to type a question in the Q&A, and Don and I will do our best to answer that. But Don, just to help people that are considering maybe stop doing the bookkeeping themselves or move the bookkeeping across to you, give us a sense of the number of clients that you would typically look after. What's that look like at the moment?
So the average standalone bookkeeper would probably have 30 clients. Within my business, we've got about 150 clients.
Okay.
The majority of our clients are on a weekly service, which means we are their accounts team.
Yes.
We kind of look up. We've ordered hampers at Christmas times. We've done all sort of admin type tasks as well, but
yeah,
it's more about that weekly service and paying bills and just keeping it all under control for people.
So what's the typical extent of the interaction? Is it someone would spend 15 minutes a week engaging with you, an hour of the week? What's typical?
So we take care of everything during the week, and then we do our bookkeeping, and then the next day is when we let the business owner know what bills are due to be paid, if we've got any queries about job numbers or things like that. So they'll get an email on the morning of the day to pay the bills. They can either reply or ring in. It probably takes them 5 minutes a week to reply. We would, for most of our business owners, we have what's called load and create access to the bank. So we would load the payments for them, but we don't have the authority to approve them.
Yeah.
So it's probably answering an email 5 or 10 minutes, and then approving the bills will probably take another 5 minutes. But a lot of our business owners say the value in what we do is if they've got a business idea or they want to know if something's a good idea, they've got a sort of, it's first level of advice, I guess, within the business. I mean, it's not business advisory from an accounting point of view, but it's more business advisory from helping them just the day-to-day operations. What should we try? Should we do this? Should we do that? So there's a lot of that. So sometimes I talk to people quite often when they're trying to work out where they want to go, but it's not business coaching by stretch of imagination. It's just, hey, Don, I've got this idea. What do you think?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, trusted advisor. Yeah. And if someone needs an invoice raised, how's that being communicated to you?
Yeah. So every business owner may do it differently. So some people will ring, some people will send an email in. Some people take photos of the documentation. It kind of depends. Some people, we raise it in the sales software itself. Ideally, we like business owners to take ownership of income. But if it is a bookkeeping style task to raise an invoice, then we do assist there.
So many of your clients would raise their own invoice in the same software that you're supporting them with.
Yeah, so we try and get people to do things when they happen. So if you're on a job, I mean, in the call out trades industry, okay, I mean, you want to be raising an invoice and have a credit card swiper ready to go to take payment on the spot. So there's products like Square where you can swipe the card or tap the card and things like that and get payment straight away. So I would much rather, I mean, you've got invoices to go, you've got Xero, you've got all these job systems, they all let you invoice on the spot. So that's why I'd rather that happen there. But there are guys that will do the old fashioned docket book, take a photo, send us the photo, then we send out the invoice and then they pay via EFT. So kind of whatever works for the business, but we definitely encourage people to use the sales software to invoice on the spot and get payment on the spot for cash flow reasons.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you so much for sharing what you're doing there. I think you're doing exactly what many business owners need, and I certainly encourage my clients to use Don and move away from the idea of having someone, as you say, a standalone operator or doing the bookkeeping themselves, all of which is a problem waiting to happen, in my opinion. So thank you for sharing that with us, Don. Just as we wrap up, I guess I want to remind you that your results are a lagging indicator of your habits. And if you're having challenges getting accurate financial data, making decisions with it, your time's getting chewed up in a low skill, low fun task, which for you might be bookkeeping, then change your habits and you'll see significant upside results. Don't be like this guy with your head in the sand around these issues. Ask yourself the question: where am I going to be in 5 years' time if I don't make some changes? And then start putting some significant changes in place that are needed to turn your business in the right direction. As a business coach, we help selected trade businesses really start to map out those changes, how to do them, provide accountability around those changes. We resource those changes with the correct tested roadmap to get the result that you're looking for in your business, and connect you with the right people like Don and like many others that are industry professionals for trade business owners. We certainly can't work with everyone, but we do have some openings, and we are looking for clients that are like-minded and really want to do great things with their business. So thank you for joining us this afternoon. If you're interested in business coaching services, please connect with us. We offer a 100% money-back guarantee. If we're not adding value, we refund any costs associated with our coaching. But of course, for most of our clients, we add enormous value and we help them optimize their profit, cash flow, and workflow in their business. Thanks again for your time this afternoon and joining us.